Welcome back to another episode of the Occasionally Accountable
Hey,
Podcast.
welcome
Perm,
back.
perm,
How y'all doing today?
Back in this beat.
We're back another week.
I know, we really be here every week.
Every week. We be back on y'all internet. Every week.
On Beyonce's internet. Before we move into anything, I'd like to give a strong shout out to our videographer, Becky. Yay, we're going to incorporate a laugh track there. She just got Beyonce tickets, I think.
Yay.
Oh, yeah. Shout out to her. I thought something more was about to come out, but there it is.
Not a laugh track.
Here we are now. I make it click, click, click. She was making it clap at that Renaissance tour.
I'm so mad that. Well, you know what? I can't even say that. It's me. I'm jealous. I'm jealous. Everyone told us to put our money aside.
Accountable.
Did I do that? I didn't put my money aside. And now, when these prices are what they are, I am kind of a hater. But I would say this. I just don't like the fact that now that Beyonce tickets are $4 trillion each for nosebleed seats, every other artist...
That's not accurate. She got good-ass seats for $300.
Yeah.
That's average.
That's fair. But I don't like the... it's like, it's too much rigmarole. It's too much rigmarole. It's too much around getting these tickets. And now all the celebrities are gonna do that now. Now getting tickets to see shows is finna get so much more complicated.
Niggas is not Beyonce. Ain't nobody doing all that work for somebody named Beyonce.
Well, something is happening.
Or the fact that Ticketmaster is now having a monopoly over all ticket sales. They can do whatever the fuck they want to do.
Well, okay, and what are we showing them? That we will stay up late at night. We will click. Y'all should have seen Becky. She was on the...
For Beyonce. She sells out in like 3 minutes.
I just feel like...
on Black History Month. That's on February, niggas.
I just feel like we are creating a precedent that is going to make our buying experience even more challenging. You know what we should have done? We should have said we're not buying these tickets unless they're $69.99. And if you can give me a $69.99 ticket, Miss Knowles, I will be at the show. If we all stood up together as a...
Have you been to a Beyonce concert?
On this month of Black History... In 2023, if we stayed united as a people against the capitalistic measures in which aim to reform our buying experience, you feel me, then maybe we could have seen the change, I mean that figuratively and literally, that we wanted to see in the pricing of the Beyonce ticket.
I'm not with
That's
none
just
of
how
that
I feel.
Because after this, you're going to take your happy ass to a Target and put that same shit into a white man's pocket.
I'm buying black at Target this month. We talked about that last episode. So, actually, no.
I'm not collectively working against no other black person. Fuck that. I just think, I get your point, but I'm like, I think that's a far reach to be like, this is going to change our experience. I'm like, Beyonce has a selling power that nobody else has.
That's true, but we created
Ain't nobody did
precedent.
That for Ari.
This is a data point for concert goers and concert sellers, people in the entertainment industry. We are telling and showing them what we are willing to do for our entertainment.
I agree with Briana only because while y'all protesting, I'm going to get my regular price tickets. I'm crossing the picket fence.
We have to stay united.
Y'all unite. I'm going to be firm.
We have to stay united against the capitalism.
Unite with these other niggas at the concert.
Now, I will say.
Who also paid $300. You know what I'm saying?
It's also like the reseller. Like, it's not. I'm joking. It's not really strictly Beyonce, but I hate all of the commotion
also,
around this
like,
experience.
Her level of production.
It's gonna be fire. I know.
That's part of your ticket prices. You know that level of production is about to be stupid.
Yeah, it's gonna be dope.
You know she is Queen Virgo that is hitting every fucking time in every aspect, whether it's the visual, whether it's the lighting, whether it's the dancers, whether it's the creative concept, like. And I'm not just going to give that credit to her. She has a fantastic team of wonderful creatives, I'm sure. But
Virgos are not.
But I think, like, I think 300 for that seat
reasonable.
for Beyonce is good.
300 is reasonable. I'm not mad at 300,
good.
But it's like what they had to do to get the $300
now,
ticket.
That's wild.
What I'm frustrated about.
That was wild.
I would pay 300 to see Beyonce, but I'm not finna be on the computer
I
doing
wish
all that.
we could actually take power away from the selling agencies like Ticketmaster,
Mm-hmm.
like I said, who has now, I think, become the monopoly once they bought out somebody. They bought out Live Nation.
Oh, I did not
Yeah,
know
so
that.
they literally became a monopoly on that. And I think I would love it if
Y'all finna be donating stem cells to get into concerts now. Good luck.
I think it would be dope if artists could individually sell like from their websites. So it's like
Mhm.
if I'm gonna cut a deal to use your venue, whatever, I'm gonna just pay you the 1.2 million, bop bop. I'm a pocket the ticket sales off my individual website and just contract them out that way.
Mhm.
I know that doing it this way takes a large that's a whole network of teams that
Yeah,
you'd have to
yeah.
pay for to be able to pull that shit off. But I just think it'll get a little bit dangerous anytime I see a monopoly. Power
Mhm.
structures. I get a little unnerved. I mean, we see indie artists doing that. Shout out to the Bay Area and Loresso. That nigga's dope as fuck. I know you probably don't know who that is, but and how he's moving independently with a lot of his sales and stuff. But like, I don't know that you could do it at that. I don't think I've seen a lot of people do it at that scale, but it doesn't mean it's not
Mhm.
possible. It just takes.
But to your point, there's a lot of teams and a lot of, I mean, like, I'm sure they were worried that Beyonce was going to break the internet. I know that they're doing what they're doing for a reason because of just the excitement and interest around the ticket sales. So I understand that. But I just think it's like you said, it's getting a little bit like, a little out of hand. I don't love
That's
it.
hella funny.
I don't love it. And I'm a little bit of a hater. I'm going to be real. I didn't get a
We
ticket.
know.
I'm hating a little bit, so.
Like all the lights went off on Tuesday at 3:00. Why? Beyonce tickets went on sale.
You know what I'm saying.
We gotta give all
She
the juice
broke
to
the
them.
power grid.
It's fine.
So.
Don't worry about it. So I actually wanted to have a little bit lighter of a conversation this week, because I felt like the last episode I produced was a little heavy, and I was like, oh shit.
Nothing wrong with that. It was a good episode, I
Thank you. I want to be light. Except for now, I realize our pre-show is not that light, but that's okay. But I was giving some thought around how I was thinking about it through a lighter, silly way when we originally discussed it. You was like, it's kind of heavy too. But I was thinking about how like the different ways in which when we were younger, like what we thought life was going to be like when we got to certain ages versus how it actually is.
Yeah.
And I always think that it's so funny because I think about like when I was whatever age, like what I thought I would be doing by 34 is
28
miles away from where I'm actually at, both in good and bad ways. So I just thought it would be kind of funny to like kind of check in and see with y'all and then listeners too. It's like, what did y'all think y'all would be doing in these different aspects at your age and versus like what's actually happening?
Yeah.
So, excuse me, to both you and Becky, I would love your take on this too, Beck. When you were younger, what did you think you were going to do in regards to a career?
I don't think I put that much thought into it. I
You
was
weren't like,
vibing.
"I'ma be-"
I was on vibes. I don't know. I wasn't like passionate about one like area of working. I don't think I ever wanted to work, to be honest with you.
That's real.
Yeah, I never saw myself working. I will say like my family they're very entrepreneurial. There's a lot of entrepreneurs in my family. So I probably saw something like that, but I wasn't working.
By the time you were in like high school and you were choosing colleges and stuff, what did you think you were going to do in high school?
This is really embarrassing, but I'm going to say it.
it.
So when I was in high school, The Game was a show that many on the internet and in society watched. And so
I'm not laughing at you. I'm laughing at Becky. Why are you already starting to laugh? Go ahead. I'm sorry.
And so my favorite character on The Game was Tasha.
Tasha Mack?
Tasha Mack.
Wendy Raquel Robinson? Glorilla Mama?
I love Tasha Mack. And so I wanted to be a sports agent because I wanted to be Tasha Mack.
Oh, that's dope. Why is that embarrassing?
Because I hate sports.
Oh.
I know nothing about sports other than I watch The Game and I like Tasha Mack. I don't know nothing about football. I don't know nothing about basketball. I'm not interested in basketball or football or soccer, sorry. But like none of the sports, I don't care about them.
To be honest, I always think of Jasmine Sullivan's album. I think you would still at this day and age, like with some right training, because you are somebody that's like you're thinking about how can we monetize?
That's literally the only reason why I was like, people will spend this disgusting amount of money in sports, and I
Yeah.
want to figure out how to.
I feel like a lot of agents probably are thinking through that lens. They're not like, oh, I love the game so much. Their thought process is, how do I monetize the branding of this person? And I actually think you wouldn't be too bad at that.
Well, so I went to school for it, and then yeah, I did. That was like my major when I went to school, was sports marketing, sports management, and then I realized in every class I would get so annoyed because we'd spend like over an hour talking about sports every day, and I'm like, oh, it's because I'm in a sports management class, so sports is the thing, and I just was like, I don't care about the touchdown and the team training and I don't care about none of that, and so I decided against sports management because the first part of it didn't resonate with me.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't think that's embarrassing at all. I thought when you said this is embarrassing, I thought you were going to be like, I just want to be a housewife to an NFL player. I was like, I mean, I'm not going to judge it, but I get it. I was like, no, this was actually way better than what
I just was like,
you
I
know?
based it off of a character and not off of like what my actual job role would be. But I sort of kind of parlayed that into what I ended up majoring in, which was in marketing, because I still loved trying to understand the psychology of a shopper and like why people make, like we talked about Beyonce and how like people are again selling their stem cells and their mama house to get Beyonce tickets.
Mama and your cousin too. You know what I'm saying?
There's certain things as consumers that we don't even think about when we buy. We are emotionally driven. Sports is one of them. Children, pets, and so I was really interested in like studying why as humans we consume in that way, and then all of the mechanisms that agencies now know and use, like for example in Target, like Target looks like Target does because it makes you want to shop. Like it's all science.
I have been,
it's all science.
Because for sure I'd be like, in literal like actual product, Walmart and Target are not that distinctly different, but your experience is so distinctly different that you're willing to pay Target
and
prices.
people spend a lot of money studying that. So that's why we all like go into Target, going for granola bars, and we leave spending $500 like that. There's a science behind that. So I was always really interested in that. So I guess I sort of kind of
it's bright as hell.
Studying.
They probably pumping out pure oxygen in that bitch. Like
it might be pure
casinos.
oxygen.
Yeah.
We took a class where we actually like really learned exactly what, not exactly because that's like proprietary information, but we learned some of the things, like even like where things are positioned on the shelf. Like you think that like, oh, it just however the person putting it out on the shelf, put it on the shelf is how you put it on the shelf. But people buy different spaces on the shelf because they know as you're walking through, your eyes go here, and so if your eyes go here, then the color is here. Like it's all science.
That's dope.
And we fall for it every time. I actually like it. I prefer it. I prefer shopping when someone's like, making it easier for my brain.
I'm like, okay, we'll see how those skills show themselves later in life. I'm like, shit, figure out how to market this fucking podcast.
And I'm in healthcare, trying to change lives.
Not what your job is. Becky, what do you think you was gonna be?
Well, like most children of immigrants, I was told I was given 3 options:
engineer,
doctor, lawyer, engineer.
Okay.
Chose doctor. Don't remember when that happened, but I remember specifically like my kindergarten graduation. We had like our dream jobs on there, and that was like framed in the house for so long. And then at some point in high school, I was like, wait, do I actually want to be a doctor, or was I just told this? And then when I had that discussion with my parents, they felt so betrayed. They're like, but you always wanted this. What are you talking about? And I was like, I was 4.
Dang.
So.
That's real as fuck. I had a conversation with one of the homies who's Nigerian about the black tax. And he was like, yeah, being like a first generation, like we didn't even think that there was no other consideration. Like you had to be successful coming from this home. There was no other option. He is very successful too, but I was asking kind of through the lens of like, did he plan to also teach his potentially future children that? And he's like, that's something I really think about, because it was a lot of pressure and it was a lot of stress and it was a lot of like sacrificing what I wanted for making sure I didn't disappoint my parents. That's interesting. Okay. I thought I was going to be a pharmaceutical researcher.
Those are the real devils.
Yeah.
Well, not Kind of.
Yeah.
A little bit.
It started as like a doctor, and then it went to medical pharmaceutical research, and then I became a teacher. So that's how that happened. But when I think I was like really, really young, yeah, I always thought about something in like the science or medical field. Like I thought I wanted to like, I remember being really young, be like, I want to cure cancer. I want to find out Dr. CB already did that. You know what I'm saying? We Hoteps over here. Big Hotep life. No, just playing. We do not promote that. Okay. When you thought about settling down as like a family, or whether or not you had a family or whatever, but like when you thought about, I'm going to live here, where did you think you were going to live?
I didn't consider that.
Did you always be like, oh, I'm probably going to live somewhere in Ohio?
I don't, you know what's funny? Like, being raised in Ohio, and maybe not even just Ohio, let me stop saying just Ohio, but my family dynamic in general, like, very, like, conservative. They didn't travel a whole lot when I was younger. I mean, like, we went on vacations and stuff to Florida and did the things, but, like,
Not to Florida?
Yeah, like, we went
From
to
Ohio to Florida, goddamn.
Florida and, what was the other? Myrtle Beach. Like,
Okay.
you know, the places, Nashville, Gatlinburg, those sort of things. But, like, we didn't, like, really go out to experience other cultures very much. And so I was pretty old when I realized, like, oh, like, there's other ways of like, I don't like Ohio, and there's also other things that I can go experience and like. And so that wasn't until I was well into my 20s that I realized that. And so I didn't really consider it. I just kind of was like, guess cornfields it is. Like, I guess this is what we got.
I absolutely see why really wild shit happens in those places. Like, when you don't have a whole lot of variety and you have to get creative about creating, like, fun and shit.
It's crazy. That's why the opioid, I really believe that's why the opioid epidemic just, like, this is a bad term, but, like, really slaughtered the Midwest and a lot of those areas is because what else are you going to do?
Yeah, that's real.
Yeah.
Becky, where did you think you were going to live?
I didn't really think much about it. I just knew I wanted to explore internationally. And I became, like, hyper-fixated on London, like, in middle school.
Come on, Euro.
Yeah.
Euro step.
I see you doing that. And then when my third eye opened, I was like, wait, no, they colonized.
Not where my colonizers.
Not only Nigeria, but where I'm living now.
I'm going to have to sleep with my oppressor.
That'll make sense if you guys stay tuned to the end of the episode.
He said when my third eye opened up. Okay. I for sure thought I was going to live and die in Oakland. I thought I was going to travel because I've always been a very, like, free-spirited type of human being. But I always thought my residence would be in Oakland. And I fought that until I moved here. Like, moving here, even coming here, I was like, yeah, maybe a couple years, then I'll go back. But after 2 years now, I'm like, oh, yeah, I don't really know that I'm going to live there for real. Like, I might have a home there or, like, access to stay there, but I don't really think.
In Oakland.
Yeah. I don't know, but we'll see. I'm going to tie these two together. Did y'all think that you were going to be married by this specific age that you're at? And if so, did you think you would have kids? And how many? Like, when you thought about yourself at 28, where would you have been at in that process of, like, marriage or children? Or 29, right? 34.
It depends on when we're talking. Because I think baby me is like, oh my gosh, 28. Whoa, that's a whole adult. But I think when
Baby Briana.
baby me. But, like, as a teenager, though, or, like, maybe a young adult, I think I probably thought I would at least be married by now.
Okay.
Probably. I don't know about kids. Yeah, I don't know about kids. But I thought I'd be married by now for sure.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Beck, what do you think?
I thought I'd be married. I don't know why, but 28 was a number in my head. That I'd be married by 28, and then I thought I'd have 3 kids. But I think that's just because that's the house I grew up in.
Yeah,
That's real.
I think that's the same. My mom was married when she was 26, something like that, like young, and then had me when she was maybe 27, 28. So I was like, oh, okay. By the time I turn this, I'll be this. And then we got out in these streets and realized The water is dirty.
It's funky.
This funky.
That's real. I always thought, I think in my head it was like 26, 27, and I technically accomplished that and failed at the same time because I also got divorced immediately. Um,
Did you want kids when you were younger?
I did. I think teaching has completely fucked that up, but not. I'm not a no, but it is like I feel like teaching gives you the gravity of what that decision is.
Mm.
Gives you more context to what the gravity of what that decision is. So now I'm like, oh, I'm not pressed to make that large of a decision.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I think similar to you, like seeing what your parents did. Like my parents were married at I think at like 21 and had their first kid at like I think I had my sister at 22. So I definitely thought, oh yeah, like I'm gonna wait till I'm like 26, thinking like that's sometime.
Ooh, all that independence.
Right? And then I got to 21 and was like, what the fuck was y'all doing getting married right now?
I couldn't imagine.
Got married, got divorced, and then I was divorced by probably 25, 26, and probably 25. And yeah, even from 25 till now, I've been like, what the fuck? Like
You got married at 25 and then divorced at 25?
No, I got married probably at 24, and I was probably divorced by 25.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, and I'm like, wait, whoa.
I can't-
Whoa,
I mean, even now.
whoa, what were we doing? Like, what the fuck?
Even now, I know that I want to be married. I could marry the person that I'm with. But even thinking about getting married now, I'm like, whoa. Like, it's still like, like, that's a big, I want it. I think we can work toward it. I think we're on the right track to get there. But, like, it seems so, like, I mean, it is. So I guess it's good that it seems that way. But it seems so big. And to think that people at 21, 23, 24, however old you said your parents were making that big of a decision.
Yes, that's crazy.
There's no way that you yourself were deciding to do that.
Yeah.
There's no way. Because, like, that's such a big thing.
Yeah, my family's for sure steeped in the church. One of the things I actually plan to ask my mom when I talked to her today was, maybe this is actually too much. But oh well. Not what the question is too much. I just realized what the question was and how she might respond to it. But like having being married at 21, like do you ever look back and wish you had time to like spend more time figuring out who you were before you had to be a mom? Because I feel like being a mom and being a wife has the potential to be the rest of your life. Being a mom is the rest of your life.
Mm-hmm.
And I know so many women that when they have children, there is this mourning period that they have of like themselves in a certain way. It's like you're never going to just be by yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And not about the actual physical time and space, but it's like there is a point where now I will always be tied and responsible to this human for the rest of their life.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, I don't really think at 21 you understand the gravity of that, or did you even feel like you had lived enough life to feel like you knew who you were and all this other stuff, and then you know what I'm saying? Like, do you feel like you sacrificed that in some way?
I kind of feel like this concept of like independence. I don't want to say that as a blanket statement, but I feel like there is more of a cultural acceptance around women having the space to be independent, live their own life. Women even being okay saying, I don't want kids. I've been seeing that a lot on social media where women are like, I don't know why people make a sad face when I say I don't have kids.
Right?
Like, I don't want them.
Rich auntie going to Beyonce.
Yeah. And so I think like that's kind of a new concept for us to accept as a culture. And so I'm thinking about my mom and how she got married so young too, and even had me fairly young as well. It's like she probably didn't even have the space to even accept that independence, hyper independence, finding yourself, all those things was even possible.
Yeah.
You know, like that wasn't an option
Mhm.
for many women, especially if you were coming from a circumstance of struggle or whatever your situation was. Like that is a privilege that we have that our
For
parents
sure.
did not get.
For sure. Okay. And then we're almost getting close. At what age did you think you were going to be financially stable? Because I felt like when I was a kid, what I thought financial stability or financial wholeness was,
Ugh.
and the age in which I thought I was going to get it, is so fucked up.
My feelings hurt just thinking about it. Because I'm like, dang, what age am I finna be financially stable?
I'm shooting for 40 at this point. To be to a point where, like, I'm not worried about nothing.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I cannot stress about things at all. Like, I'm at this point being like, I gotta shoot for 40. But
It's wild to me, like, when we were younger, like, $100 felt like
right?
you could buy so much of any, like, $100 was like your golden ticket in Willy Wonka, like. And now the way that I will spend $100 after filling my tank up and getting a chip out the 7-Eleven, one chip, not the
even
bag
whole
of
bag,
chips,
bro.
one chip and a sip of water, the free water out the thing that I low key stole, like. It's insane.
That put a little Slurpee in.
Yeah. It's water. Can I get a water cup and it's lemonade? Like, the way that money just, it's not it. And I think part of that, I think, is like the way that I was raised around money and finances. Like, I would say if I had a conversation with my parents, they would probably agree that they didn't really teach us a lot about finances, like how to manage it, whatever. Thankfully, I lived in a situation where, like, we never felt, at least I never felt the pressure of feeling like I didn't have money. We vacationed every year, and so I didn't understand my financial situation as a child. I didn't. Everyone around me had the same situation. So I was like, I guess this is what we do. And then when I went out into the world on my own, I was like, oh, y'all pay rent every month? Oh, there's like lights and water and rent, and then don't let your car get towed or don't let something happen. So it's like things just add up, and they pay you the same amount every single time. It doesn't matter what your life looks like, you know. So I would say, yeah, I don't even know right now when I will be financially stable.
That's real. Bex? She like, I've been balling, ho.
I just remembered, I don't know when I thought I'd be financially stable or if I even understood what that was when I was in high school / early college. But I just remember senior year when we went through our loan training and we got like our total amounts how much we owe and when it would probably be paid off. I was like, I cried. I was like, I'm going to be like 50 before this is all gone.
I just accepted that I wasn't paying it.
You have said that on the
show. Like, come and get it if you want it that bad.
If you want to come and get it.
Yeah, I just accepted that wasn't my portion. That if y'all gave an 18-year-old... I'm not
convicted about that at all.
If you gave an 18-year-old $30,000, you're not expecting to get this back. You don't want this back. Y'all don't even trust me to rent a car. Y'all don't even trust me to buy a lick of alcohol, and you think I'm finna pay y'all $30,000 back? If you want to come get it. I'm not willingly giving this to you, though. So there's that.
That's fucking hilarious, bro. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought for some reason, I think just based off of like shows and stuff we watched, like I didn't watch Sex and the City, but like I feel like that era also, I watched like Friends and stuff like that, Living Single, and I'm thinking about like, oh yeah, I thought like, you know, they
just
were
exist, yeah.
Yeah, but I wasn't thinking to myself like, oh wait, like all these niggas had a bunch of roommates, like both on Living Single and
that's a good point.
Friends. Like they all had a bunch of roommates. They all were in and out of jobs. Really, the whole season, other than Living Single, Khadijah always had Word Up, and that means Sinclair had a job too. But like, you know, there was just a lot more movement or whatever. Actually, now that I'm saying this out loud, Living Single, all them niggas had stable jobs the whole time. Khadijah, I mean, she was an entrepreneur, but they had the same job the whole time. Friends, these motherfuckers was hopping around 18 motherfucking jobs.
Ross had the same job.
He became
archaeologist.
Or he was a Did he do something else later at some point? Oh.
He was an archaeologist. But you're right. I think Phoebe Phoebe ain't never have a job.
Phoebe didn't never have one.
Rachel went in and out. She didn't. She was an heiress, and then she had to work. Or no, that was
That's
Jen.
Rachel.
Oh yeah,
Jennifer Aniston. is her
Jennifer
real
Aniston,
name,
and
but
then
yeah,
Monica was many cooks. She
Yeah.
had many cooking jobs, and then
And I felt
Joey
like she was doing
Tribbiani.
something else before she started. Like she decided to commit to cooking.
She
or
worked at
something.
the cafe at the coffee shop,
See?
and then Joey, never had a job.
He was an actor.
Yeah, I guess she did. But you're right. Wow. And they showed us this whole sexy life, and they was all in there struggling.
Struggling.
Wow.
Struggling.
Well, Chandler even changed his job. Yeah, you're right.
And they all had roommates.
And they all had
30s
roommates.
and 40s.
So they were actually.
Well, probably 30s. I
And
don't know if
that's-
they got to 40s.
That's super funny because, like, in our culture today, like, it makes it seem like we're all supposed to have penthouse apartments, drive Mercedes Benzes, also have time to vacation, but also we have a savings account and we are in cryptocurrency and we have babies and, like, all this stuff. And, like, back in the 90s, they were roommates and, like, sharing Thanksgiving turkey and, like, they all chilled at the coffee shop, but I ain't never seen them go out to eat. They weren't going to stop at the McDonald's and stuff like that. Like, they were really living, like, regular people lives.
Yeah. And
Oh,
how many
okay.
seasons was Friends, though? Like 12? I made that number up. Maybe not
I don't
that
know
much.
about
Maybe
12.
8.
But you're right. They had gotten into their 30s at some
Yeah,
point.
they were in their mid-30s by the end of it, for sure.
Yeah, so yeah.
But, okay.
Interesting.
Yeah, I was just thinking about, like, where you thought you would be in life and how funny it is that, like, as little kids we're like,
we have no
at
idea.
this age we're gonna, and then you get there and you're like, whew, what the fuck?
We have no idea. And I wonder if that's still true for kids now.
I think so, because I just think from the lens of even the idea that some crazy percentage of kids, when they identify what they want to be when they grow up, it's an influencer. And I think that even in that, I go, you're missing a lot of, to your point, what branding and marketing and the business of a lot of these things are. So I do think it is like you see this glamorized thing and you don't actually know the reality of it. And I think they are I'm more nervous for them because you have more access to, like, see all of these people trying to pretend like,
But you also have more access to knowledge. Like, I feel like I was walking in the where was I? TJ Maxx, I think.
Bless you.
Sorry. I was in TJ Maxx and there was a coding for toddlers book.
Mhm.
Like, they're teaching the
Scratch
babies.
Junior.
Yeah, they're teaching the babies how to code. So I also kind of hopefully that kids have access to, like, what really matters and they're not, like, sitting in there crying over their cursive handwriting. Did you ever have to do that? Cursive class?
It's sad that we don't have cursive. I love cursive. Cursive is hitting.
It's pretty, but, like, the way that I was so stressed out to write in cursive and I never use it.
That's real.
Long division, why?
I still firmly believe that people don't need anything over algebra unless they're going into a field in which they need to use
That's what I'm saying.
math
Like, let's
mathematics.
teach kids how to, like, do the things that actually matter. Like, balance a checkbook. Well, that doesn't matter anymore either. But I sound like such a boomer. Let's teach the kids how to balance a checkbook. But, like, things that matter, coding or crypto, whatever.
Financial literacy. Like,
Yeah.
even right now with our company is redoing our, like, benefits packages. Like, one, I didn't even know that I had life insurance through my company. I was like, oh, wait, nice to know, because I was, like, about to go pay for this. Like, I was redoing my car insurance because I have to, like, register in the state of Texas, only to find out that, like, my car insurance covers, like, if my car, like, gets fucked up and has to go take to a shop, just off of, like, not even off of a collision. So when I paid all that fucking money when my car broke down, I had to take it to a shop, and, like, I had insurance that covered that. Or there, even with our health insurance, there's, like, money that you can take out pre-tax that you can use specifically towards all these indicated
Your
medical
FSA.
expenses or your FSA. And I'm like, what the fuck is all this shit? You talking about purchasing a home? I'm like, what the fuck is all this? And that's the shit where I just go, y'all wild.
You can buy hella stuff with your FSA, too.
Girl,
You can
when
buy a lot of
I saw what was in the FSA store, I was like, everybody's getting FSA presents. I am for sure
You can buy hella
taking
stuff
a
with
tax
the FSA.
deduction. Oh, what? What? I'm like, please take the max out of my check. I'm going to the FSA store at the end of the year in December, and I'm cashing in on that shit. And everybody's getting some healthy ass gifts. You
And
need
you
a
can-
neck massager?
I think
you're about to
some-
get it.
You can even buy pay for some gym memberships with FSA.
There's certain gym memberships. You can pay for tampons. Chiropractics work under certain stipulations, not my stipulations, which is general well-being, but that's a whole other conversation about how the medical system does not care about that. But anyways, yeah, I was like, what the?
Yeah,
So-
I found about the FSA a couple years ago, and I was like, I don't do it anymore. I mean, I don't do it at all because I think it's stressful to have to remember to spend it, and you only spend it on specific things. I know it's like a card and you just swipe. I don't know. I don't make enough appointments and stuff to for it to make sense. But if you are into wellness and stuff like that, yeah, it makes a lot of sense to do. There's all sorts of benefits, but they don't tell us on purpose.
You gotta go search them.
You have to go find it.
It's trash. But yeah.
Yeah,
All
being
right.
an adult sucks. We can agree. We can agree. It's not what we
trash.
thought. We were so pressed to
Big
get
trash.
here, and now we're here, and we're like, yo.
What the?
Yeah.
All right. Well, this has been another episode of the Occasionally Accountable podcast.
It has.
Thank y'all for joining us this week. Please remember to like, comment, share, subscribe. Ooh, look at us go. On all platforms, we are on YouTube, where you can come watch us. You can comment on our shows /shorts / if there are things we definitely want to, like we said in the last episode, I don't know what order it's coming up, but whatever, have more incorporation of the people in our show. So do those things. Also, you can follow us on Instagram and TikTok to interact with us throughout the week.
Yeah. Thank y'all so much for watching. Don't forget to share, tell a friend to tell a friend, and we will catch you in the next one. Bye. She not gonna say bye? That's rude.
Bye.
Oh,
Hey.
bye.
I was throwing up my signs.
Oh, I
over here.
wasn't watching you. Brittany was throwing up gang signs.
Peace, the West Side. Hang loose. That's what I was doing.
Oh gosh. All right.
Let's go.
Bye.
Because we got 30 minutes.
It's already 4:30.
Yeah, All right, we're entering our post show, so we don't have a real intro.
What's
So
goody?
we gotta figure out a real intro around that at some point. This is so funny because my post show question was: do you ever think about how, as a woman who dates heterosexual men, that to have relationship, you're going to have to accept some level of patriarchy, even though that they're technically your oppressor? And I promise you, this has been written.
I'm
days.
laughing because
And
we
so
had a
that's why I was
conversation
like,
about this.
oh shit!
That's funny.
Look
That's
at
funny.
the universe. I'll bring it to you right there.
What a pointed question. Wait, can you one more time?
So I put, do you ever think about how, as a woman who dates heterosexual men, that you have to accept some level of patriarchy within the context of that relationship? Like, every man has some misogynistic traits because of the natural inherence of our power structures of the generation who raised them. And I do believe that each next generation has the potential to become less and less misogynistic over time. But we technically are having to choose to coexist with people who, I mean, they don't have to be oppressive, but they have a place in a power structure that,
if used incorrectly, is oppressive.
if used
Yeah.
incorrectly, is oppressive, and I don't think you can escape it without it being used at some point. Now, they
Yeah.
have to be correctable or whatever, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's part of being in a relationship, in my opinion. At least in the way that I am dating, I feel like there's going to be a lot that you kind of have to just, I don't want to say it's accept, but I do think that people come with their own viewpoints, and if you're not like my twin, or you weren't in vitro with me, you're not going to have, even if you were, you're not going to have the same viewpoint as me. And so whether it's around patriarchy, their position in society, what you like to eat for breakfast, there's differences. And so I think as long as we can have conversations around your understanding of where you stand in the world, I think it's fine. I think like we were just talking, whether you feel something or not feel something, it's up to me to accept it. And so you could feel however you want to feel, but if I don't choose to accept it, then You are feeling how you feel, and I feel how I feel. There's really not a lot of relationships that I engage in where it is someone else's opinion dominates how I feel about it. Everyone that I choose to engage with has at least an open mind. Not we don't have the same opinions, but they have an open mind. Even my partner now, like he's African and was born in the Ivory Coast, and so it comes with their own cultural understandings. But he's open to other perspectives. He was steeped in a perspective that sometimes permeates parts of our relationship, but he is open to thinking about it differently, and he understands who he's with. Like, I'm not, you can feel how you feel, but I feel how I feel, and both will be respected in our relationship.
Are you mic'd? I would love to hear your thoughts.
We're talking to Becky.
Are you not mic'd?
I'm mic'd now.
Okay, well then answer.
Wait, no, ask me the question.
She didn't hear the question.
Oh, okay.
She wasn't right. She was.
Say
she was,
that then.
She did. I think the like she couldn't see you say
I was
that.
like, have you given consideration that as a woman who dates heterosexual men that you are going to have to accept some level of like patriarchy and misogynistic aspects of them just because it's not possible to like grow up as a man here in this country and escape that?
I think so. I think so. I mean, part of me, this is bad. This sounds bad, but part of me thinks that every woman is going to have to settle if they want to be in a relationship. Because I don't know, and I don't know if I want this included, but I feel like maybe because of my past relationships and past trauma, I think so lowly now.
The bar is on the floor,
and my friends who are married or in relationships, I feel like they just accept shit that I appreciate that I don't have to deal with because I'm single.
Mm-hmm.
So I might have a fucked up view, but
That's interesting. I mean, I don't disagree with that. I think there is what we're told being in a relationship is and what it really means to be in a relationship with somebody. And it's not always a complete alignment. I think if there's understanding, you can always get through it, but there's some things that I think sometimes you just we don't have the same perspective about.
Yeah. I mean, it's valid. I think it just has to be what you're passionate about, what you're not passionate about. Like, no, you're not going to align on everything, I guess, but I think it just depends on the person of like what things that they're unwilling to be misaligned on.
Yeah. And you're very passionate about feminism and how women are respected and show up in the world. And not to say that I'm not, but like I'm okay with in some instances being more in the background in some circumstances. Like I don't feel like I always have to be front and center. I actually don't want to take the wheel a lot of times. I don't
think I want to either.
Yeah.
I would love a man that I felt like I could trust you to lead.
But then that means you have to
allow them to
lead.
I don't personally believe a partnership is either one of us is leading 100%. I don't believe that's what partnership is.
Mm-hmm.
But I would love to be able to trust a man to lead because it's exhausting to have to operate in like hyper independence all the time. There's probably ways to do it without being, necessarily having to go to a relationship of like to start to work on your hyper independence. But that shit is exhausting as fuck.
Yeah.
So like, yeah, but also that to me, how I would, like you said, I'm very womanist. I have my own opinions about feminism because I'm also pro-black, so those two often collide against each other. But because I don't think the feminist movement gave a fuck about black people. But I do feel as though I don't know. This was something I was really thinking about that was rough because I go there's some level of the reality side of me goes every generation gets progressively, in my opinion, better. And I think that within each generation, we have these conversations about like back in the day and da-da-da-da-da. But if I look at humanity as a whole progressively, like overall, in my opinion, we get better. Like we as women are a little more free than we were 100 years ago. We as black people are a little more free than we were 100 years ago, right? Are we at the marks that we want to be at? No, because that's the point of like having purpose and pushing generations forward. So with understanding that like whoever was the previous generation that raised this person, it doesn't mean that you can't have incorrect values, but you can't have like really great value systems or whatever, but it's like I don't know that it's avoidable that like there isn't going to be some level of like misogyny included in there or patriarchy included in there.
It's unfortunate, like our culture's relationship with misogyny and patriarchy, because it like discolors men in leadership a lot of times. Like it feels like if we allow men to lead, then they take it and they like, do what we have historically seen men do in power. And that's unfortunate because I think that there's nothing wrong with allowing men to lead in some circumstances. The problem becomes when they become drunk in power, when they feel like they have control, when they silence women, when they don't allow women to be in control. Like that's where it becomes a problem. But I don't think that there is inherently an issue with men leading, just like there's not an issue with women leading.
I don't think it's inherently an issue with a man leading. I think that it's inherently an issue if only a man is leading.
Sometimes two people can't lead.
But what do you mean?
In the dynamics of a relationship, right? Like there can't be.
You mean at the same time? At the exact
same
time?
Yes. So there's going to be a point when one person is leading and the other one isn't.
That's fine.
Yeah. So.
But I think that like. I think that there has to be. I still liken it to okay, so I still liken it to, for example, I think everything wasn't supposed to be about one person leading in general. Mm-hmm. I think that it was supposed to be consistently with checks and balances. So even if you think about like using the parable from the Bible, right? It was all the people of like Judea, they had the 12 tribes or whatever, and they kept being like, everybody else has a king. Everybody else has a king. We want a king. We want a king. And God was like, nah, y'all shouldn't do that. And they kept fighting him about it. And he finally gave him a king. And he was like, I'm going to let y'all run this shit out and see how you should not be doing it. So I don't really think it's any time. I don't think as human beings, it should ever be one type of leader in a space, because I don't think that's most conducive to everybody. And I don't think as human beings that people do well with power without checks and balances.
I think that based off of how you're framing it, that it feels like if there's a leader, then there's a follower, and one is better than the other. And I don't know that if you're following,
I don't feel like I'm framing it that way, though.
Okay.
Like, I don't think that I look at it as like, this person is a leader and everybody. I think it's to me, still with the tribal example, is like, there were tribal elders and everybody was contributing, and there was checks and balances to check people's egos and all that other stuff. Yeah. I didn't look at it as like, if a man leads and a woman is lesser in that moment. Yeah. I don't look at it that way. I think that there's balance in a relationship where there are different times where both of you have to lead. But to tie that back into like patriarchy and misogyny, to me, those two specific things are about abuse of power. It's not about who is in power. It's how that power is being abused for the benefit of a man.
Okay. Yeah. That's good framing. So then in a relationship, I don't think that just because a man is taking the lead that they will automatically abuse the power that they have. Not in every situation.
Okay. How much power?
I hate that word power because it's like, what is power? But like, I guess in the dynamics of a relationship, if there's somebody who is in that moment leading, if it's me, if it's him, whatever.
Oh, you're still talking about momentarily?
Momentarily, yeah.
Oh, then no.
Yeah.
I think that, if you're switching moment to moment, I think that is a check and balance, right? In and of itself. But I do think that, like, okay, I mean, and then that also breaks into, like, okay, then how do you choose what y'all lead with, and who makes that decision?
I think it was situation, case by case. I don't know that there's like a prescriptive way to go about it, but I don't necessarily. So to like answer back to your question, like I don't think that just because you're dating a heterosexual male that male is automatically going to subscribe to patriarchy.
You don't think that every man has some form of misogyny to him?
Well, I haven't talked to every man. I mean, just how we're like, raised. Like sometimes there's some built-in.
Yes, I'm
stuff.
agreeing with you.
Yeah,
that it's
I mean,
real. That's why I'm like, I'm not.
But-
my
but
question wasn't like, is it okay or is it not okay? The question was, have you ever thought about that as a woman if you choose? Because we joke about like heterosexuality is a mental illness. Like, but it's like you are, in a way, it's like I'm signing up to like fuck with my oppressor, low key.
I don't know if it, but I think that's a drastic. Yeah,
that's a drastic thing because that completely negates the ways in which women misuse power and manipulate within a relationship.
And that's almost like saying
because they both exist.
All white people are racist.
I believe that. Firmly believe that. I don't think you can't. There's no way you can't be in this country. How could you not be? Do you believe that?
That all white people are racist?
Yeah.
Inherently.
Yeah.
You have to actively be anti-racist for like the majority of your life for me to be like, okay.
And even then, you gonna fuck up somewhere.
Yeah. Okay, that is a challenging perspective for me. I don't know that I see it that matter of factly, but
I don't think every white person is actively violent towards other people, but you inherently, like, to me, you can't be, if you're born into a power system that constantly serves you, how could you not be racist? Every action you take, because you're inherently born in white power systems, that plays into the system, is you acting in racism.
Yeah, you were born into it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think everyone has like ill intent.
Yeah.
Like, I think people really don't.
It's like if you were born into the royal family, you're royal.
It is what it is. Like, I don't think
yeah.
you cannot be racist. My thing is just, hey, can you work at that so you can stop like fucking with me?
Yeah. So I think the same thing can be true though then in a heterosexual relationship. Then maybe you're born into misogyny and patriarchy, but you have to be actively working to challenge those thoughts and be with somebody who's willing to do that.
That's an interesting take though, that you say you feel like every woman has to settle.
It's such a consistent trend.
Yeah.
Is it?
There's like the overachieving woman, and then there's this lackluster husband. Like, I paid the bills today.
Look, honey, I woke up and put clothes on.
Wow, I got the kids dressed this morning. Aren't you so proud
Are you
of
so
me?
proud of me? Yeah.
She said y'all niggas bacon sick as fuck. No, I think I didn't mean to keep. I've seen relationships where I think that I have a lot of respect for how the man shows up.
I agree. I've seen some, but
It's
But
not
and I think
common.
it takes time.
Yeah.
I think it takes time. I think it takes coaching. I think it takes, which is so annoying that we have to do that. But I think it takes time to get there. And as long as you're with somebody who's willing to work toward that, I think it's okay. I think it's okay. I don't know, unfortunately, a lot of men who are come ready-made. I don't know.
I don't think anybody comes ready-made. I don't think a woman comes without her own shit.
Right.
But
And I think there's a lot of, I hate this word. I'm not even going to use that word. I think there's a lot of releasing of power, releasing of independence that as women we also have to do because we had to be so hyper independent because of the dynamics that we have if you want to date a heterosexual man. So there's work on both ends.
oh, absolutely.
There's
There's
work on both
always
ends.
work on both
Yeah.
ends. I just think that if you like inherently, it's the same way that I look at like how I believe all white people are racist. Like if you're born into a system in which you're given power, like you have no gain to change. Like
There's no reason for you.
there's no reason for you to change other
Mhm.
than you, for some reason at the core of your belief system, don't want to show up in a certain way. So you do the work to actively change and start to release power in certain areas and make space for other people.
Mhm.
So like, to me, I feel like when it comes to men as well, it's like, it's the same kind of concept. Is like, you don't have to release power. Like, we just was talking about the other day or last night. It was like, Dallas is a pick-me-ass state when it comes to men. Like, men, you're in an area where women definitely want to get married. There's probably a smaller amount of men.
There's that traditional Christian
yes,
Southern.
absolutely. So like, why a man having to like, whatever, you know, you don't have to. So my thing is, it doesn't mean that there aren't men who will, but what I am saying is that like that that does take generations of time for a collective percentage to be closer to that, because you're looking at it like, why would I give up power? And we also watch this shit happen, because the one thing I will say is people throw a lot of shade about everybody got podcasts now, and I kind of feel like, or people be like, they need to stop giving these men podcasts. And I'm like, no, 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 no. I want them to have them, because one, I need y'all to all understand what the fuck is going on in the world as a woman. Like this shit that y'all think these niggas is wild. Like they have followings for a reason, because there are a lot of men who also think and operate in the world like that. I think it's more valuable that we all have voice. But I do think that like there are a lot of men who don't see the value in giving up power, and they don't even they're not even connecting the fact that like their actions are equated to power dynamics and power systems. And so I just think over time it has the potential to get better, but it's only through them choosing to be different. The same way I look at racism is like racism in this country only gets better if Black people are gaining more capital and land in some way to force the balance, or y'all give up power.
Right. And you know that requires sacrifice. So that requires some woman taking on some man who's willing to think about this differently, and a woman who's willing to be patient to work through that, to raise the next generation of people that have sort of relinquished that train of thought. I think if we give up altogether and say, you know what, heterosexual men, we don't need you, it's mental illness, like we joke, like, then we will allow that mindset to permeate, and then that will be the norm. Like, I think we have to I don't think we have to settle, but I think we have to be willing to have the conversation with men, have to be willing to work with men who want to be worked with.
Yes.
And push in the other direction.
Who want to be worked with, yes.
Work with men who are open. And that's what I'm saying. Like, I'm with an African man, and we know what that can sometimes look like, but he at least is willing to work. He's willing to work. He's willing to think about it differently. He's open to concepts, and that's all I can ask. That's all I can ask. If you're willing to think about it differently, and I'm willing to be patient enough with you to give you the grace to learn through things, I mean, hopefully my son will be a little better, a little wiser for it.
Yeah.
You did read the question 3 times.
Yeah, y'all.
It was a thick question
3 times, I was like.
Man, we taking hot takes these next 2 episodes, aren't we?
Do y'all want to leave these rolling?
I said, ooh, we taking some hot takes this next 2 episodes.
I thought about that, and I was like, oh my gosh. The only way I can have partnership is to fuck with my oppressor. That's crazy. That's a wild concept.
That's dramatic.
That's not dramatic.
Fuck with my oppressor is dramatic.
That's low-key what it is.
You're not fucking with your oppressor.
Literally fucking the oppressor.
You're not fucking the oppressor. You are opening yourself up to experiencing
oppression. You're sacrificing for the greater good.
You are making the sacrifice so that your daughter or whatever
I'm choosing to be oppressed, so my future son is living a freer
in a world that is more freer.
No, I get you and King's point about that. Like, I don't think you're wrong by that, but I just was thinking about that in the shower about a week ago, and then I was like, okay,
I'm gonna have to fuck my oppressor as soon as I get out the shower.
I'm like, God dang, like.
Yeah.
And then that conversation happened. I was like, "That's wild."
But I don't want to diminish. I wish I had said this on the podcast. I don't want to diminish the fact that it's hard and very annoying. And it's very frustrating, and it's stupid that we have to do that as women.
I mean, we're still rolling.
We are rolling everywhere else.
But it's stupid that as women we have to do that. But I think if we don't do it, then who's gonna do it?
That's fair.
Like, we have to.
Yeah.
We have to.
I had a conversation with some of my New York friends. And when we go again, okay, can we, at some point, not even today or near today, but we got to really lock in June.
It's going to come right around the corner.
That's why I'm like, we got to really lock it in.
Okay.